Last time on the Randomiser.
You will be the first men to land on Mars.
I think our security arrangements are inadequate and would suggest that we ask International Rescue to be present at the next launch.
Thunderbirds are go.
Fortunately, our services were not required, although I can tell you now that a sabotage attempt was made just before liftoff. But we took care of it.
International Rescue from Zero X. Thanks. We are leaving Earth's atmosphere.
Now I guess the rest is up to you.
And now the conclusion.
You're going where?
The Swinging Stars, Father. It's some kind of nightclub.
Well, that means you won't be back here till morning.
I'm drunk. She won't be back here in the morning. Yes, welcome back to Thunderbirds Are Go, Part 2.
We're doing here.
Where Jeff is not reacting well to the news that his sons are planning to go out and get a bit sloshed with old Lady P. Probably because he would rather like to be doing that. I always suspected there was a bit of a thing between Jeff and Penelope. But the films seemed to sort of hint that the boys were interested in her as well.
Yeah, that's right. It's some sort of a nightclub.
Why don't we go off to the mainland tonight? Just the two of us.
Well, that would be lovely, Alan. I'll wear my new dress.
What goes on around here? Have you all gone crazy?
New dresses?
International Rescue, remember? We can't leave the base unmanned.
Oh, but you've got Gordon. You were happy to rely on him last week to carry out any rescue that may have come up while the rest of them were away.
Have some coffee, Alan?
No, thanks. It keeps me awake.
Oh, so Alan's not happy about the fact that he doesn't get to go off and have a party. Oh, and more gorgeous shots of Tracy Island now at night time. Oh, I would love to live there. I would love to just visit for a day. And we're now in, I think, a room we've never seen on Tracy Island before. Alan's bedroom.
Oh.
Which is, it looks very nice, but it's rather sparsely furnished.
No, Alan. Have you gone crazy? We can't leave the base unmanned.
And here we go on one of the more, let's say, infamous sections of Thunderbirds Are Go, the dream sequence. Now, obviously, dream episodes in the Jerry Anson world are, by and large, not a favourite of most people.
Penelope, you're 30 seconds late.
So I find it rather strange that they spend so long in the first Thunderbirds movie on this extended dream sequence. But I suppose two reasons they wanted to do it was one, to really push again the spectacle element. It's not quite sort of psychedelic, but it is rather...
You're dead on time.
I don't know, it sort of reminds me of like proper old school, big Hollywood, epic Technicolor films. But also we want to maybe get a singer in here. And we're now cruising past Mars. Well, it's ambitious as dream sequences go.
Straight ahead.
Oh no, they're heading... It's not the swinging star, it's the twinkling star. They've given him his own movie! Ah!
It's fabulous.
No, it's an evil place. It's an evil place populated by... Oh, the worst toys.
No parking problem here, my lady.
'Cause I've got the cannon, remember? And now here we are in the Swinging Star Lounge. I would love to have actually been there for the initial premiere of this and see what the audience reaction to this was. Whether they were on board with it or whether they were sort of a bit confused and maybe even a bit startled by what's going on here, because Penelope and Alan are sat in the middle of the lounge, and surrounding them are static, blue-faced puppets who aren't...
Terrific group.
They're not doing anything because they're just meant to be part of the background.
You see, they're way out.
And we have the Shadows here to play this. I believe this track is called Lady Penelope, and I adore the sculpts of the Shadows in this. I think they got Hank Marvin absolutely perfectly there.
Have some more champagne.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on the names of the shadows. I do have a CD compilation of theirs, actually, which has a couple of lovely Anderson-based tracks on it. They all look pretty good, except for the drummer, whose mouth seems to be wide open at all times and makes him look a bit creepy. But now we're bringing out...
none other than Cliff Richard Jr.
And there he is. And, yeah, that again, that's another reason to have a dream sequence. We can get a celebrity guest and sculpt a puppet around him. That must have been such a eureka moment when they decided to do that.
You are cheated.
Now, call me Mr. No Taste in Music.
My mind is free.
I really like this. I mean, I'm a sucker for
Should let you know.
for things that aren't very good, but I love this song.
A shooting star will shoot you, and
And it's got nothing to do with Thunderbirds.
the man in the moon will jump.
But it's got a nice beat. It's got a nice 60s sound.
I saw.
Cliff actually looks really good wearing Parker's chauffeur costume.
But you let him know that I got friends. So baby, listen.
Oh, and the band are all, or the shadows are all sat on the car, and
Mars will go.
this,
The man in the moon will.
yeah, this is completely pointless. And, you know, for a pointless thing, it's reasonably well done, but yeah, it does have a bit of cringe factor, I'm not going to lie. When it turns up on film 4, I do sort of wince a little through this section.
Friends. So baby, listen to me.
On the other hand, it's kind of sweet to see Super Mario Nation just full-on musical number, because they hadn't really included like full-on song sequences like this. I know occasionally in Stingray and Fireball they would sing their end title song, but it was never this spectacular. It was never this well realised.
I'm not telling you, 'cause I got friends. Baby, listen.
So as a one-off, yeah, I think on the whole, I'm gonna give this a tentative thumbs up. But I'm really glad they didn't try anything like this again. Well, at least not until Kate Kestrel came along. Also, apparently, Jerry tells a story that a woman at the premiere actually screamed at Cliff Richard's puppet.
Come on, let's dance.
That must have been such a wonderful experience for everybody who worked on this film and these shows, to have a full premiere event for their big epic film. And I know obviously the film didn't do so well, and that was kind of the beginning of the end for
One I can rely on, Alan.
for the Super Mario Nation world.
I'll be down right away.
But just for that one night, they must have felt like they could have done anything.
Must we?
Dad needs me. He's depending on me. I've just got to go.
This is an odd element of the dream as well, that Alan dreams that he is the only one his dad can rely on, whereas I would have thought most children would sort of be like dreaming of being a bit more rebellious and not associating so much with their parents. But anyway, that's Alan for you.
Mind the gap, Alan.
I can't possibly make it.
What's the matter, Alan?
And it's an odd element of this film and Thunderbirds 6 that they seem to have picked Alan as being the primary audience identification figure, at least among the Tracy brothers. Scott and Virgil do most of the heavy work, but it's Alan who gets the main character moments. And I he was in the show a lot, but not more than Scott or Virgil. So I don't quite know why both films picked Alan as like
Alan,
the man to build the whole film around. Oh no! I just noticed that behind him there is what looks like a stuffed, it could be a carved wooden alligator. Oh, I hope that's not the one Tintin got him for his birthday in Attack of the Alligators, because that would be very sad. Yeah, that's stuffed. Anyway, we're now around the pool, and yeah, we're 56 minutes in. This is the first time we've actually seen Brains in this film, which is a bit of a shame. He was in the original cut scene of International Rescue appearing on TV.
Wish John was here to enjoy the fun. But I guess someone's got to man the space satellite.
Then I guess it has to be him. No reason, I just feel very strongly about it.
Father, I was just listening to the Zero-X transmission to Earth. They've just announced they've safely landed on Mars. Thought you'd all be interested down there to hear the news.
Thanks, John. Keep in touch.
FAB.
Talk to you next year. Poor old John.
Just heard from John.
Who?
After 6 weeks in space, Zero-X has safely landed.
And both films, he gets completely sidelined. It's not fair. Anyway, we're now on Mars. And is this the first time that we've seen any depiction of Mars in the Jerry Anderson universe? I think it might be. And as with much of the earlier special effects sequences, we are taking an exceptionally long time to pan across the surface of Mars and watch the MEV slowly rolling in over the horizon. It, it certainly helps make the place look very bleak and very desolate, but again, it just needs a little bit of a kick in the posterior to get it going.
My first thought is, I think the atmosphere would be breathable, but too thin to sustain life as we know it.
I have a feeling that we may encounter life as we don't know it.
Oh, I adore that line. And obviously it's rather ominous setup for what's about to happen with these strange little rock formations that keep popping up everywhere. But it is... Oh, it's just one of those lines that fires the imagination.
These strange formations seem to be all over this part of the planet's surface. Don't ask me why, but they worry me.
Now, Ray, don't
why?
let your imagination run riot.
Yeah, Tony, I know it would be all too easy to happen up here. But can you account for the strange formation of those rocks?
My first impression is that when the crust of the planet was very thin, it was struck by meteorites. As the meteorite punctured the shell, so the hot rock exuded onto the planet's surface, like toothpaste out of a tube.
A good theory, Tony. Now explain to me how the exuding rock wrapped itself into a coil.
Oh, boom. Game, set, and match to Dr. Pierce.
This is one of the many things we have to investigate. We're falling behind schedule. Can we move on?
Sure, Paul. Sorry.
You're in a hurry? We've come all the way to Mars, but if you two don't behave, I'm going to turn this thing right round. We're going to go home. Oh. And of course, it's hard to watch these scenes of the MEV pootling around on Mars without thinking that sooner or later, in some other Jerry Anderson universe, the MEV would be back on Mars to encounter other alien life form.
I think we'd better take a sample back to Earth.
I must say, I think that would be a wise precaution, Tony.
Just in case they ever come and attack us. But no, nothing would ever attack us from Mars. Gonna stop. Gonna blow up a priceless geological phenomenon.
A sizable piece.
Okay, Ray.
As soon as you fire, I recommend you stand by at the ready.
I've just got a feeling, that's all.
Dr. Pierce is he's a bit of a one for being a bit ominous, and this sequence of the MEV crew on Mars, by the end it almost becomes like we're watching Zero-X the series, which is something that I would absolutely have been on board for. And of course in TV21 we did have the rather wonderful Zero-X comic strip. That was one of my favourites because it was mostly drawn by the late great Mike Noble, who was just did some phenomenal stuff. But yeah, a slightly more mature and sophisticated take on the Fireball XL5 planet hopping space adventurers fare. If you haven't seen any of the Zero-X strips, I would really recommend checking them out. And yeah, just imagining what we could have had if they'd had more screen adventures. Anyway, I've waffled all over. One of the rock snakes waking up. And that is a rather unsettling image for Thunderbirds, because you're so used to everything being, you know, there's never been any inclination of anything sort of sinister or otherworldly beyond the Hood and his evil eyes. Well, now we have some more evil eyes, not yellow, but red, and all these rock snakes are waking up. Oh dear. Blasting the MEV. And it is kind of an odd feeling to know that in the Thunderbirds universe there is alien life, there's life on Mars, but I think the fact that it is so alien and so strange, and that it doesn't really have its own civilization or its own you know, technology or anything, it's just a bunch of creatures minding their own business. It kind of works if they'd been like silly little green men with, you know, funny hats.
We don't know what damage.
This sequence could have been a flop. As is, I think it's pretty effective. The creatures are rather unsettling, rather creepy. And yeah, some nice sparkler effects on these little projectiles that they keep launching at the Zero X.
Remember, Greg, there's a whole line of them ahead of us.
Well, that's going to be number 1 on the report from the MEV crew. Don't fire at strange things on the surface of Mars. But will they take that to heart? I think not.
Take too much of this punishment. So far, all systems are go.
And this is a very short mission because they're having to bail before the rock snakes blow them up. But yeah, that was like a little sneak peek into what Zero X the series could have been, and
right.
I like these characters. I like this vehicle. I like the slightly more serious take on Super Mario Nation's spacey stuff. And it's kind of a shame we never really returned to this this style of all these characters and this lovely vehicle in the Zero X.
Well, at least the Martian excursion vehicle has joined up successfully with the main body of Zero X.
What's the scheduled date for the re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere, Dad?
Well, their flight takes them 6 weeks, so they should be arriving on the morning of September 2nd.
Oh, what year, Dad? Oh, no, we're never gonna say the year again. It's too much trouble. So yeah, that was the great manned mission to Mars, over and done with in the space of about 10 minutes. They went to Mars, got shot at, now they left. I hope they did more. I hope the rock snake thing didn't scare them off entirely, because it's a bit of a waste of money building this great big thing, sending it to Mars, or building 2 of them, and then giving up after 5 minutes.
Central control from Goldston. Retro firing A-OK. Zero X re-entry attitude correct.
Woomerer to central control. Verifying Goldstone's report.
This is Goldstone. I don't need your confirmation, Woomerer.
Hold her steady, Skipper. I'm bringing in lift body 2.
Roger.
So number 1 is successfully docked. Just bringing in number 2. Everything should be fine.
Radio control failure. I can't hold her.
Oh, well, that was that then.
What's happened?
So number 2 has gone out of control and... oh, exploded beautifully.
Central control, this is Zero X. Emergency. We have lost lift body 2 following a collision caused by a fault in our remote radio control unit.
And it's strange as well that Zero X, having...
help us, I'm afraid. The locking gear was damaged in the collision.
Having had so many problems already, now has another problem that scuppers its return to Earth. I could sort of buy that maybe damage from the rock snake's fire was maybe responsible for some kind of malfunction, or maybe even the lifting body was sort of knocked off course at the last minute by a signal from the Hood. But as it is, the fact that it just sort of spontaneously goes wrong for seemingly no reason, when Zero X has had so many other things go wrong to it already.
Due to damage, it's impossible to get another wing attached. She's unable to maintain height and will crash in approximately 30...
Yeah, I don't know. It feels slightly contrived.
Systems aboard shows that they have an escape unit failure. Unless we can get...
oh, and they have an escape unit failure as well as all the other things that have gone wrong. Ugh. How much money did you spend on building this thing again? It's an absolute death trap.
Okay, Virgil. Take Pod 4 with the air-to-air rescue equipment.
Pod 4?
With Zero X. Yes, sir. Alan?
Yes, sir.
I want you to board the Zero X and...
So you're prepared for Thunderbird 4 use, which means...
Yes, Gordon, you'll be needed too.
Hooray! Gordon is needed! Gordon is needed!
Thunderbirds are go!
Oh, at last. Justice for Gordon. Sadly, no justice for John. I don't think we even see him for the rest of the film. Poor guy. And then when we see him in the next film, he gets, I think, one line, and he's being voiced by a different actor entirely.
Maximum speed, Scott.
Ah!
We're gonna need all the time we've got.
Where did you come from? That little room that Brains is sitting in behind Scott's chair has never been seen before or since, I believe. It makes sense that that there would be a room like that on Thunderbird 1. I think we saw the winch room in The Uninvited, and in Crywolf there's, I think, a chair sort of on the floor next to Scott's, but it's a whole nother room on Thunderbird 1.
Central Control, this is International Rescue, Thunderbird 1.
Anticipated your call. We're on our way.
We know you're useless. Don't worry, we'll take care of it. Yeah, it's from here on the rescue. Well, the rescue of the Zero X crew. They're not going to save the machine itself because they can't.
I've been requested to pass a steer to you.
This is all very, very slickly done.
International Fix System 240.
There's very little padding here. There's very little that doesn't need to be here, and in that sense, it's a really nice showcase for the Thunderbirds machines and the Traceys and everything they can do. It almost feels like, though, by this point that
everything in the book, but the escape unit...
they've left it a little too late to star in their own film.
National Rescue had been with us this time. They might have come up with something.
Because the Zero X crew or Zero X itself have been the primary focus up to this point.
They require to make contact with you.
Changing to Channel 4.
Well, they have the Simpsons now, don't they?
Gee, I'll be glad when Scott's got his mobile control operating. We'll need his assistance in locating the Zero X.
Oh yeah, because without that mobile control, you'd be really scuppered, wouldn't you? What does mobile control actually do?
You better get up the Astrodome.
Okay, Virgil.
I mean, it's a radio, and that's about it, isn't it?
Zero X. This is mobile control. Now, here are your instructions. For the next 10 minutes, lose as little height as you possibly can.
Oh, I was going to carry on plowing her straight into the ground, but, oh, thank you, International Rescue. That's a good idea.
Passengers into the escape unit. And then pray. In the meantime, take further instructions from the pilot of Thunderbird 2.
It's a rare mention of religion and faith in the Supermarionation world.
Thanks. Alan, Gordon, stand by. Zero X, dead ahead. FAB, Virgil.
Oh, and there's that gun section that Brains was using back in Ricochet.
Coming in below you.
Now Gordon's have a go at it.
A lower nose landing gear. We're gonna put a man aboard and attempt to fix the escape unit.
Release air brakes, Greg.
Right.
And now this rescue sequence is very reminiscent of what International Rescue did back in Operation Crash Dive to rescue the Fire Flash. They had to, in that instance, they sent Gordon over to check things out. So it is rather strange that... well, no, I suppose it's not strange. If it worked well enough in that episode and it was a suitably spectacular climax to the story, then why not try it again here?
It sounds mighty dangerous to me.
It is mighty dangerous, and we do want to try it. Now, hold her steady.
We do have some safer plans, but it involves putting Alan in danger, so I'm all for it. Oh, that's a gorgeous shot of Thunderbird 2 cruising in underneath the Zero X there.
Stand by to hold position.
And when this film gets the effect stuff right, it really gets it right. That was beautiful.
Now, mobile control from Alan. Okay, Brains.
So now once again we have Alan in as the big hero to save the crew of the Zero X. He's the one who's been winched aboard.
Yellow wiring harness.
And Brains is on the ground offering technical support.
Doctors Grant and Pierce, hold tight.
I'm removing you to escape unit.
I love these shots of the Zero X crew cruising through the interior of the ship on the way to the escape pod. Again, it does make me wonder what other rooms are on the Zero X, because they just seem to be strapped to their seats. There doesn't seem to be any way in or out of the rooms we see them in, except via the escape route their chairs take. Anyway, Alan is now taking out some tools to have a go at the junction box on the Zero X.
And reconnect them on one block so we get a direct link.
And I suppose it makes sense. It's a bit more realistic that International Rescue would at times have to do sort of consult diagrams and meticulously reel off numbers of screws that need to be adjusted, with John Pertwee's sonic screwdriver there, of course. But again, it doesn't make for an exceptionally thrilling sequence when we're just listening to some numbers as Alan removes some screws. We don't even have any music for this, actually, I've just realised, which is quite unusual.
I'm sending you both back to the escape unit.
And there isn't really much music at all in this second
Switch
part.
the automatic pilot. I'm staying here. I'm sending you two back now, and that's an order.
Yes, sir. Good luck, Paul.
I get the big damn hero moment all to myself. Nobody else, you hear me?
I'll go back into the escape unit either when it's fixed
Or when we're at 0 feet.
It'll help.
Thanks.
Oh, that's a nice understated bit of bravery from Captain Travers there, who again seems like a proper Super Mario Nation hero character. Maybe it's the fact that it's Paul Maxwell's voice again and he's the captain of the ship, but you know, he feels like he's got the same qualities of bravery that Scott Tracy and Troy Tempest and all the rest of them had. So it's really a shame that we never saw these characters again. As I said, though, except in the comics, which were awesome.
Dangerously near the ground. Play out more cable. I'm coming alongside Zero X.
No, Alan dropped the screwdriver. This is thrilling stuff. Will he be able to reach it? Will he? No, he fumbled it. Oh, and that's that. Bye-bye screwdriver. Bye-bye Zero X's engines. They've gone as well. And a nice boom. So without the screwdriver, Alan will have to do, again, exactly what Gordon did in Operation Crash Dive, and hold the two cables together to connect the circuit to release the escape pod. Oh, but he's not got much time. There's stock footage of Portugal coming up fast.
Immediately. Alan from Virgil. Jump at end of 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
He's bailing. Will the cable hold? Whoa. And this shot...
Stop! Now!
Oh, it was up to Scott to manually release the escape capsule, and he was almost in a world of his own there, dreaming about something, but... Oh, this shot of Zero X ploughing into the ground. Despite the fact that there's that annoying judder that would happen on a lot of model shots sometimes, this looks absolutely beautiful. Everything being demolished and disintegrating and exploding, and Zero X just seems this unstoppable force that keeps ploughing through everything. And of course, they went and built another one. Because, you know, it's failed catastrophically twice before, but, you know, third time's the charm.
Okay, Verge. Escape unit. Are you okay?
Oh, and I like this.
Thunderbird 2 from 0X escape unit. Yes, we are okay. Paul only just made it. He's badly shaken up.
That Greg Martin answers, and just for a moment you think, oh, maybe Travers didn't make it out, but of course he did.
We heard. Well done.
Yay!
From Gordon, we can't retrieve Alan.
Yay! Oh, no.
The cables are now fouling the side of Thunderbird 2.
We'd better drop him to the ground.
FAB?
Yeah, Gordon's had enough of Alan for today. He's,
I think that's Fab 1 below.
Oh, okay, yeah. And this... Did I mention contrivance earlier? Yes, this is somewhat contrived as well.
Hello. Why not drop Alan down here? As soon as we heard the forecast crash position, we made our way here.
Rubbish. Yeah, wait, who told them the forecast crash position? Oh, I suppose it might have been on the news, but even so, from the UK to America, I think Craigsville was in America, in like, what was it, 35 minutes? I know Fab 1 is fast.
Sure, swell of you to come here and pick me up.
But...
After that brilliant performance, I think that's the least you deserve.
But at least this can all tie up Alan's dream fantasy of a night with Lady Penelope.
Your hotel. Is that correct?
That, Parker, is quite correct.
Oh, and she found time to book a hotel. She had all this planned out, didn't she?
You mean you're going to take me to the Swinging Star? Just the two of us?
Just the two of us.
And Parker, of course.
It's like a dream come true.
Here we are at the real Swinging Star, which is built on the nuclear reactor model from The Mighty Atom, oddly enough.
This must be the most memorable day of my life. I feel like a real grown man.
But you are, Alan, you are. Particularly with that snazzy moustache you're wearing.
You see, we have to wear a disguise sometimes when we're out in public, in case we're recognized.
Well, it doesn't stop you from telling everybody your names. You've never worn a disguise. In fact, by the next film, you're basically telling everyone that you work for International Rescue, and secrecy's gone out the window, but...
Disguise. Pretty good, eh?
Why, Dad, what are you doing here?
So everyone is now wearing a disguise.
Congratulate you on your great performance today, boy.
Me too, Alan.
Scott clearly needs some advice on those glasses.
National rescue success.
Verge! Who else is here?
Congratulations on your performance today. And tonight.
Oh, so everybody's crashed Alan's dream night alone with Lady Penelope.
Remember, Alan, one of the most comforting feelings a man can have in this world of ours is never to be alone.
Oh, whether he likes it or
To
not.
Alan, the hero of the day.
To Alan.
Except for Scott and Virgil and Gordon, whom we didn't even invite to this, but no, it's all about Alan. Well, that's made him happy anyway. So that was...
Thunderbirds! Ah! Go!
Yes, thank you. And, as... It's an odd one to talk about this. Both of the Thunderbirds films are rather odd to talk about because... neither of them quite recapture the magic of the television series, for me at least. And I think the flaw with this one is we spend relatively little time with the International Rescue gang, you know, the Tracy family, the characters that we know from the show. And I know a lot of time in the episodes was spent sort of establishing the characters who were going to be thrown into danger before, you know, International Rescue rolled out and saved them. But in this, I think we spend like the first 20 minutes on that first flight of Zero X, and it ultimately goes nowhere. So some gorgeous effect sequences in this, you know, some of the best that the Anderson team of any era ever put out. But I think maybe they just got a bit too carried away with all that and sort of lost sight of the fact that in the TV show they'd really built up this core of characters that we all loved. You know, we loved the characters as much as we loved the effects and such. So, you know, it's nice. It's visually interesting and exciting. Doesn't quite have the magic of the TV show, but you know, still one of the best films I've seen all year.